What is up, everybody? We're back here at King Film Sports for another week of betting locks and game predictions, and we had a wild week one in which 12 of the 16 underdogs covered against the spread, and a majority of underdogs won outright. It was a wild weekend in the NFL, concluded by maybe a game of the year in the Raiders and the Ravens. Let's look at my predictions overall. So on the game picks, I went 8-8, and there was a narrative that I did trash on these picks. And 8-8 is not good for the game picks, but considering how many underdogs won, I think it was not that bad, all things considered. And then looking at the betting locks, Seahawks won in a blowout against the Colts. That was a good pick. Panthers, we got screwed because I took them at -5, and it was -3 and -4 at game time. They end up winning by 5, so we get the push there. Not the end of the world. Vikings sold against the Bengals. Dalvin Cook is probably down here, but the Vikings didn't deserve to win overall as they played poorly. Lost that lock there. The Titans -3. That was a terrible lock as they just got blown out of the water at home by the Cardinals. Lost by 25 points. And then the Niners, who I had at -7.5, held on by a thread. I mean, they were up by 28 points. Ended up only winning by 8, so covering by a half point there. And then, as I mentioned, the wild game on Monday night, the Raiders +180 come out on top at home in a wild OT thriller. So, as I mentioned earlier, week one game picks, we went 8-8. Not great, but certainly not bad. And then for the betting locks, we were up 1.6 units, largely because of the Raiders' money line. We got some extra plus money there. So plus 1.6 in a wild week one, I consider that a success. And without further ado, let's get on to week 2 of the NFL. First, here on Thursday night, we have the Washington football team hosting the Giants, and two teams that did not look great in their opener, both 0-1. But I'm going to take the football team at home here. I think Taylor Heinicke is going to be pretty good. I think he's probably going to outplay Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was terrible in week 1. And I know they were playing the great Broncos defense, but you're playing the football team defense here who are arguably just as good. I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair, but when it's all said and done, I think Taylor Heinicke will lead the football team to victory. Now to the Sunday action. First game, Patriots at the Jets, two 0-1 AFC East teams. In this one, I think Mac Jones gets the best of Zach Wilson. The Patriots actually played pretty well in that ugly game, just a few untimely mistakes really did them in there. So I think they're going to beat a pretty bad Jets team here. Not a lot of good things for the Jets to take away from that game. I mean, their O-line was just abysmal. The Patriots defense is pretty good. I think Zach Wilson will have another subpar game, and New England will get a gutsy victory there. Next, we have the Broncos at the Jaguars, and wow, there might have not been a more disappointing team than the Jaguars, who went up against one of the worst teams in the league in week 1 and got blown out by 20 in Trevor Lawrence's debut. And the Broncos look pretty good in New York. This is their second game on the East Coast, so it could be a bit problematic here. But give me Denver. I think they're the much better team. And I think the Jags have a lot of issues to work on. This is certainly not the first win that they are going to get. Next, another AFC East matchup. This time the Bills at the Dolphins. And the Bills going into this game 0-1 after an upset at home against the Steelers. And then the Dolphins at 1-0. But I still see the Bills winning this game. I just think they're the better team. Josh Allen is not going to have it easy. This Miami defense is very, very good. But I think he will have a bounce-back game. And Tua did not look great in New England. I don't think he'll look great against a good Buffalo defense. It's going to be a close game here in the division, but I see the Bills pulling it off in Miami. Next game is going to be our first betting lock of the week, and it's going to be our first 2-unit play of the year. In this game, Niners at Eagles. Give me the Niners -3 points for 2 units. I'm very confident in this lock. The Niners only laying a field goal against Philadelphia. Philadelphia, they did have a great win against Atlanta last week, and Jalen Hurts looked pretty good. But a lot of those points that they got were in garbage time, fourth quarter, late in the game. I mean, for a lot of this game, it was, 7-6? A very close game between two bad teams. The Niners, I know they look terrible in that fourth quarter against the Lions, almost blowing the game to Jared Goff. But I think the Niners will bounce back. their defense did look really good for the first 3 quarters, even at a pick 6 in that game. I think they can do that to Jalen Hurts. And then the Lions really did not stop the Niner offense at all. And the Eagles' defense is not very good. I think the Niners will run right over them the entire game. I think this one is going to get out of hand. This is San Francisco's second game in the Eastern time zone, so that is a bit problematic. But against a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, who have way less talent, I think the Niners will shine here and get the victory by at least 3 points. So give me the Niners there for 2 units. Next, we have Rams at the Colts, and it doesn't get easier for Indianapolis here, who did not look good in week 1. I think they'll give a better performance, but when it's all said and done, give me the Rams to beat them on the road. I just don't think that Carson Wentz has done enough to show me that he can win a game against a great NFC West opponent, so give me the Rams there. Next, we have the Raiders at the Steelers, 2 teams that got impressive victories in week 1. Here, give me the Steelers. I think at home, their defense will shine against the Raiders, and the Raiders just want to play a shootout to win a game, but I don't really think that's going to work as the Steelers have a pretty good defense. I think they'll be able to run through that Raiders O-line, so give me the Steelers there at home. Next, we have the Bengals at the Bears, and in this one, I'm going to give Cincinnati the benefit of the doubt. Give me the Bengals to win this game, as they did surprise me last week. It just comes down to the fact that I think Joe Burrow is a lot better than Andy Dalton at this point in time. And even going into Chicago, I think the Bengals will be able to get it done. Their defense looked pretty good last week against the Vikings, and I think the Bears have a worse offense than the Vikings did. And then on offense for the Bengals, I mean, that Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow combo looked very good like it did at LSU, and Joe Mixon was pretty good on the ground, so I think Cincinnati will get the upset victory in Chicago. Next, we have the Texans at the Browns. This one's pretty easy for me. Browns played great last week, and although the Texans did as well, I think Browns are the much better team. I think they'll just run the ball right over the Houston Texans defense, so give me the Browns to win easily there. Next, we have the Saints at the Panthers, my next betting lock. And in this one, give me the Panthers money line plus 180 as we get great value here for a Panthers team who did not look great on offense against the Jets. I will acknowledge that, but they were getting it going later in the second half, utilizing Christian McCaffrey. It was CMC's return game, and it was Darnold's debut. I think they'll be a lot crisper on offense. And they are playing against a very good Saints team. Blew out the Packers last week. Jameis Winston looked really good. But I think the Panthers defense will play a lot better than the Packers D did. So give me the Panthers to get this upset victory. They are playing at home. I think that will factor into it. It's going to be a close game, but I like Darnold and the Panthers to get that one done. Next, we have the Cardinals hosting the Vikings. I think this one's pretty easy. Cardinals look very, very good last week, so I think they will easily get the victory over the Vikings, who struggled mightily. Next, we have another easy game to pick. Buccaneers facing the Falcons. I think this one's just going to be all Tom Brady and the Bucs. I think they'll potentially put up 30 to 40 points in this one. And Matt Ryan and the Falcons offense, what are they doing? Only put up 6 points against the Eagles defense. What are they going to do against the Bucs? So I just see this as a terrible spot for them. Give me the Bucs big. Now let's get into 3 straight betting locks. First one here being the Titans at the Seahawks. I know the Titans did me dirty last week as I took them to win by at least 3. Got blown out by the Cardinals. Now, traveling across the country to the Pacific Northwest, I'm still taking them plus the 6 points. I think they will bounce back. Their offense just has to play a lot better than it did last week, but I think they will. I think they'll establish the run game with Derrick Henry, and I think they will get Julio Jones and A.J. Brown more involved. Tannehill has to have a much better game. I think he will. I think it's going to be a close game overall, but Tennessee plus the 6 in a bounce-back scenario, I think this is great value, even though the Seahawks did look really good last week. Next, we have the Cowboys at the Chargers, and I like the Cowboys money line plus 140. They played great on Thursday night, and those were just 3 extra days to rest and prepare for this game. Chargers, Justin Herbert, I mean, they didn't look great against the football team. It was a gutsy victory on the road, so I guess you could say they did what they were supposed to. In this game, it is their first game hosting at SoFi Stadium, but I don't think their fans will have a massive difference. In fact, I think the Cowboys might have more fans in this game at SoFi. So in this one, I like it to be a shootout, but I like the Cowboys to end up winning. Plus, you get great value at the plus 140 spot. Next here for our last lock of the week 2 slate, give me the Chiefs -3 against the Ravens. I just really love betting the Chiefs here, especially when you don't have to lay that many points. -3, worst case scenario, if the Chiefs win, you push there if they win by a field goal. But Ravens did not look good across the country in Las Vegas. They have one fewer day of rest, and I think that overtime game, they played deep into overtime and were really gassed in that game. And in this one, they haven't been perennially great against the Chiefs in Lamar Jackson's career, so I think the Chiefs will get the best of them there. Now to the Monday night game, Lions at Packers. And this one might actually be a little bit closer than people think, as the Packers looked terrible in week 1, and the Lions actually looked pretty good, especially in that fourth quarter. But I love the Packers here at Lambeau to get it done. I think Aaron Rodgers will have a much better game, and the Packers will right the ship there. So with that being said, everybody, let me know what you guys thought of my locks. Are you tailing me? Are you fading me? Which is your favorite bet of the week 2 slate? Remember, as always, to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.